Howdy doody, everybody. Welcome in YouTube to the Chapadong's Quick Picks, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I am your host, Chapadong. I am a coach and contributor inside DFSArmy.com, and I also go by the name Chapadong out on Twitter. And you can find me by liking and subscribing to this YouTube channel. When I put out content, it often falls into an article out on DFSArmy.com, where we have the best coaches, the best tools, the best contributions of anybody in the site. We have the best community in DFS. We're always talking back and forth. We share up to 40,000 messages a week now. It's getting hard to follow the content inside DFSArmy.com on Slack because we're talking so much. Yeah, a lot of it's locker room talk and fluff, but a lot of nuggets get shared in there. If you are the type of person that plugs in, follows along, asks questions, asks for feedback, you are the type of person we're looking for. You're the type of person that's going to get better quick. If you're struggling in DFS, you're going to get better with us. Plug in, use the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P. Follow the link in the description of this article to DFSArmy.com. Get 20% off the lifetime of your subscription. If you don't cancel your membership, your prices never go up. We just raised prices this month, and they're going to go up again someday, sometime. Lock your price in now, and don't worry about it ever again. We've got winners of $50,000 in the NBA, $150,000 in the NFL. We've got 3 guys going to the King of the Beach qualifier, all based off of our Domination Station Optimizer, which is state-of-the-art, best, most customizable optimizer in the DFS industry. So, all that said, let's dive into some games. These are not a slate breakdown. This is not the in-depth talk that you're looking for. If you want that, you slide down over here to Geeks Vegas Lines and we talk a little bit more. I host that with our founder and CEO, Kevin, the football geek, and we talk for an hour or so. This will not be that. We're going to fly through here. I'm going to give you my core plays, my core picks, and a few thoughts behind it. Thursday night game, mostly fade it. 42.5 points, yuck. 3-point spread. I do like LaShawn McCoy. I do like Tyrod Taylor a little bit. I don't know about the addition of Kelvin Benjamin. Don't care yet. I want to see it a week or so. Over here on the Jets side, don't like any of it. So LaShawn McCoy, maybe Buffalo's D, although McCown's not a turnover machine, and possibly Tyrod Taylor. Sunday 1 p.m. games, Denver, Philadelphia. Philadelphia, again, Jay Ajayi just picked him up. Great. I need to see it. I need to see how they're going to use him. Until then, it's all speculation. That's saved for your GPPs. I'm a cash player. I'm a safe guy. I want to see it before I believe it. Therefore, I'm not playing Jay Ajayi. I think that targeting the Denver secondary with your quarterback and with your wide receivers is bad news. I'm off Wentz this week. The only name I like in this game is Zach Ertz. Well, and Philadelphia defense. I do like them quite a bit because Denver is a turnover-prone offense right now with Trevor Siemian or Brock Osweiler at the helm, and Philadelphia is taking the ball away. 15 takeaways on the year, tied for 5th in the league. So I think they're a solid play. I think they're going to cost you, but I think they're a solid play. Zach Ertz, if you look at his game logs and his fantasy points, Fanduel points on the year, weeks 1 through 8, 17, 15, 18, 13, 18, 16, 20, 13. He sees 80% of the snaps, 8 targets a game. He's got 5 TDs in his last 4 games. It doesn't get any more consistent than that. And a volatile position like tight end, we love consistency. Pay up, get it. Zach Ertz, when you've got a good matchup here in a team that does not tend to guard the tight end very well because they're so good against wide receivers and even running backs this year, there's nowhere else Wentz is going to go. I don't think he's going to spread the ball out enough to garner enough points elsewhere, but I think that Zach Ertz alone is a pretty solid play this week. As far as the Rams and the New York Giants are concerned, I don't like this game either. I think this game sucks. I'm not even going to talk about why. You want to tune in to the podcast to find out why. Kevin talked about it last night. The only play in this one's the Todd Gurley and the LA Rams. That's it. Moving on. Drew Brees and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You need to listen to the podcast on this one because I believe differently than Kevin does, and Kevin's a smarter dude than I am. So, not to devalue myself, I personally think this game is going to be higher scoring for the New Orleans Saints. When I see the worst matchup for quarterbacks against, like the best matchup for Drew Brees, the best matchup for his receivers, a decent matchup for his running backs, I'm like all hands on deck. I see 28 implied total points. That's 4 touchdowns. I see Drew Brees getting 2 or 3 of them. Drew Brees did not throw for a touchdown last week. Do you think that's going to happen again? I don't. I think odds are Drew Brees throws for touchdowns, especially at home. I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to throw for a few. I think if you want to throw Michael Thomas with him, go for it. I don't know about Kobe Fleener, but I do think that Mark Ingram and Kamara are in play too. Throw it mix and match. If you really want access to this game and want most of the touchdowns being scored, you run Drew Brees with Mark Ingram. And if you're lucky, you double dip on a receiving touchdown because Mark Ingram does receive targets. Over on the Tampa Bay side, I don't trust Jameis Winston. I don't trust Ryan Fitzpatrick. The only one that I trust, and I do trust him, Mike Evans. I don't think that New Orleans is going to really lock him down. He's a consistent 8 to 10 targets. Yeah, he hasn't been getting in the end zone a ton, but they forced the ball to him. The volume is there. If the volume is there, you're going to find me in cash games looking heavily at the play. Will I settle on it? I don't know, but I'm looking at it. It's a key play for me this week that I need to dive deeper into, and I think as of right now, I like it. I would click him right on into my lineups. And I would love it in a tournament to run Drew Brees, Mike Thomas, Mark Ingram, and then Mike Evans and game stack this thing, just in case it goes off. Vegas seems to think it's going to go off. Did Vegas overvalue it? Maybe. Who knows? But right now, I also like the New Orleans defense. Let's do that. New Orleans defense, Jameis Winston, 3 interceptions in his last 2 games, 6 total on the year, a putrid 10 to 6 touchdown to interception ratio. New Orleans defense definitely in play, and as you see a little bit later, they're cheap. Keep on moving. Cincinnati, Jacksonville. The only ones I like here, Jacksonville defense and Leonard Fournette. Yeah, I see the funnel. I know that Jacksonville has great corners, and they force you to run the ball, and everybody runs on Jacksonville. I just don't trust Joe Mixon. And I don't trust Marvin Lewis's freaking usage of him. I think it's a great spot for a running back, just not Joe Mixon. So largely, I'm off. I haven't been wrong so far this year. He's maybe had a couple of good games, but I haven't played Mixon yet. I don't trust him. I'm not going to. It hasn't burned me yet. It hasn't cost me contests yet. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not playing A.J. Green or Andy Dalton, that's for sure. Over here on this side, the reason why I still like Leonard Fournette is I'm hurting for running backs this week. He gets 30 carries a week sometimes. He's the favorite at a 22 points, and I know I just said up here 28 points is 4 touchdowns, and up here it's a yucky total and blah, blah, blah. But here out of 22 points, when Blake Bortles is not throwing the ball to his receivers, you got 3 touchdowns on the board. Who's going to get those? Possibly your defense, possibly your running back are going to get 1 or 2 of those. I like both those plays this week because of it. Am I all in on the play? No. But as a core play, I'm going to have a lot of Leonard Fournette. He's proven to me this year that even in bad matchups, the dude does well. He gets fed the rock. And he doesn't have any competition for him. Who's it going to be? Chris Ivory? We saw how that worked out. Play Leonard Fournette if you're looking for a running back. Next game. Only one out of this one, Christian McCaffrey. That's it. Sorry, I don't like Julio Jones, guys. I know his price is down. I don't give a crap. I don't think this Atlanta offense is worth a shit this year. I think that they have trouble with pass catching backs in the defense of them. Therefore, I like Christian McCaffrey's 6, 8, 10 targets a week, but I don't trust Cam that much. I don't trust he's in relation to the other choices I have this week. So I'm not going to really be on this game too much unless I really need to save some money with Christian McCaffrey. Then I might do it. Houston and Indianapolis. Big total, big spread. Big implied total for Houston. Houston is all hands on deck. Every one of them. Deshaun Watson in play. Lamar Miller in play. He's had a good couple of weeks. He was real flat for a long time, but he's had a couple of good weeks. Maybe we can trust him. He's a little bit cheaper. He allows me to afford some stuff. He gets the workload. 31 points is 4.5 touchdowns. He just might punch one in. We see he's got 2 TD upside. You know, I'm looking at a lot of green over here in this DVP map telling me that Indianapolis is very soft against these positions. Quarterback, that's Deshaun. Wide receiver 2, probably Fuller. Damn, that dude just keeps producing. I don't know about tight ends so much. I don't know about slot receivers, but wide receiver 1 is DeAndre Hopkins. That's slightly green. It's a pretty good indicator. Deshaun, DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, and yes, Lamar Miller. Run them, man. Mix them and match. Again, you want to run Deshaun Watson and Lamar Miller together, get access to all 4.5 touchdowns, do it. You get lucky, double dip. Lamar Miller is no stranger to the reception every once in a while. Run in there. Houston defense also in play. When you see huge spreads, that usually means that Houston's going to be grinding clock late with the running back, and they can pin their ears back and rush the quarterback because they know that Indianapolis is going to be chucking it. My only slight issue there Indianapolis is on the road, and road teams tend to roll over and give up when they get beat up. Home team continues to fight. Road team tends to get beat up a little bit. So they may not really start slinging it, but they should. They're going to have to stay competitive somehow. Baltimore and Tennessee, don't like the game other than Delaney Walker. Oh, you know what? The other thing I will say quickly about this Houston Texans game, this is a weird one because I've seen games like this that line up so well for the quarterback and the receivers, and then some dude comes out of freaking nowhere. I remember the 1999 Rams went up to Detroit and played, Kurt Warner was on fire. Marshall Faulk was catching passes and scoring touchdowns and being crazy. Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, these guys are going nuts. And then who comes out of nowhere with a 4-touchdown performance? Zahir Hakeem. Would it surprise me if some no-name dude comes out of nowhere for Houston and grabs all of these touchdowns? No, it would not. I don't think it's going to. I think that the odds are long, but I just wanted to bring that up because as I was looking at that game, I thought this is a game that seems so obvious for all of these guys that somebody from nowhere is probably going to come out of here and screw us all. Could happen. Zahir Hakeem. Oh, woo! Man, greatest show on turf days. I'm in St. Louis. That was fun. They moved. I hate them now, so whatever. Baltimore and Tennessee, like I said, Delaney Walker only. Don't trust any more of that game of any kind. This game, yuck. Division game. There's a lot of green over here, but who on Arizona is going to take advantage of it? I don't see it. Yuck. I'm out. As far as Washington, Seattle, I'm on the Seattle side of things. Russell Wilson, he might be back, man. His last 2 games, 780 passing yards, 7-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, average over those 2 games, 31 Fanduel points. The dude's beasting lately. He's at home. I know that Washington has a better defense. It's a tougher matchup for him, but damn, ride the hot hand. If you're looking for a quarterback, you want to save some money off of Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, not a bad way to go. I'm looking at Doug Baldwin and Paul Richardson is a little bit interchangeable right now. There's no real dominant factor in there. One had a good week 2 weeks ago. One had a good week last week. They kind of flip-flop. Somebody's going to be getting a lot of the Josh Norman stuff. The other one might have a good, series or 2 while they don't. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't like question marks. I think that they're both viable. I don't know how cash safe they are, but I think they're both viable. I know that the tight end position is weak spot of Washington, so I would be looking at Jimmy Graham. He only gets 5 to 6 targets a game, which is not a ton, but it is something. And Washington is number 28 against the tight end. So take that for what it's worth. Not a big shootout game, but I do like the Seattle side of things. Defense, not so much. I think Kirk Cousins is good enough at avoiding turnovers that I don't think the Seattle Seahawks are really going to have a massive defensive game most of the time. And I say most of the time, large sample size. If we ran that exact game, 100 times, I don't think that the Seattle defense is going to have a great game 50 times or more. Maybe 20 times they surprise us and they have a good game. But I think 60 to 70% of the time they're going to have a pedestrian, 4, 5, 6, 7 point type game. They're not going to blow up for 20 points, and they might not blow up for 10 or more, but maybe 20 times or fewer. So that's how I view that when I say, great spot. I'm thinking long term. I'm not thinking anything can happen on any given Sunday, obviously. I'm not thinking of that. I'm thinking of what happened if we played this game 100 times. What would the possible outcomes be? There's a little tip nugget kernel for you. Again, you want more, you contact me through dfsarmy.com. We talk back and forth, and this shit will just fall out of my mouth. It'll help you. You'll ask questions. That'll help me. We work together. We get better together. You make me a better coach. I make you a better player. Boom. That's how it works. Game of the week, Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys, 51-point total, 1-point spread. There is no better paper matchup for a shootout than this. Both defenses give up points. Both offenses are running pretty well. We just lost Zeke. That means Dak's going to have to pass. Probably going to end up passing more to Dez Bryant. I'm interested in the matchup with Marcus Peters and Dez Bryant this week. I don't think that it's maybe a shadow situation. I know they moved Dez around. Also, I just wonder if Dez can handle what is quote-unquote an elite cornerback. I don't think Marcus Peters is elite, but I think he's pretty good. I think he's damn good. But I wonder if he's going to shut Dez down. And that's going to directly affect, Dak. And personally, again, tune into the podcast, hear the Geeks' thoughts. As far as I'm concerned, typically running quarterbacks, short ball control, game managing type quarterbacks, and maybe I'm misreading the situation, but that's what I think of in Dak. I think Dak's phenomenal. I love running the guy in cash. I think with 25 implied points being scored, I think Dak's going to get the lion's share of them. So I think he's a fine play, but I worry a little bit about, is he going to be able to fill the void Zeke leaves behind, because Zeke takes so much of the focus off of everybody else and puts it onto himself that it helps Dak. And I'm wondering if with that missing, are they going to be able to focus more on Dak and kind of squelch his production a little bit? So, I mean, Dak's very consistent. 16, 17 points at worst, 32 at best. I think he's more on the 16 to 17 side, down in the low 20s. And at his salary, that's not really enough for me to get super excited about it. So, I'm not big on Dak this week. I'm not big on Jason Witten this week with the matchup here. I would be big on Travis Kelce. I would be big on Alex Smith. Alex Smith, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, Charkandrick West catch some passes. Oops, I'm sorry, I should be over here. Tyreek Hill, not a bad matchup. And, of course, the other receivers to help it out, a lot of Kareem Hunt should be seen. A good bit of Alex Smith and a lot of Travis Kelce. If you wanted to run Alex Smith, Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce, I'd be okay with that. You could run it back with, who knows, Darren McFadden, maybe. But I'd be excited about the Kansas City side of the ball here more than the Dallas side of the ball, just because I've got some questions. Do I think the game's going to shoot out? I trust Vegas, typically. I do. Anyway, you want to talk about getting all access. Again, Alex Smith and Kareem Hunt, all access to all the touchdowns. Don't get too many vultured that often. Sunday night hammer game, I'm not super excited about it. Jarvis Landry might be my only play over here. They just lost Jay Ajayi. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. I know there's that rookie in there, the Drake or whatever, that maybe they're going to feed, maybe they're not. It looks like a good spot if they give him 20 carries. I don't know if they're going to. He's dirt cheap. He allows you to afford a lot. I don't know what Oakland's going to do to Miami either. It's West going East. It's a night game, which helps, because generally the West versus East thing is an early game theme or an early game trend. It's a night game, that does help. Derek Carr, they're so inconsistent. I don't know. Now, if I'm in a season-long league, I'm running them out there, but I just don't know what he's going to be able to do for DFS purposes. My focus is going to be in this game up here and probably New Orleans and probably Seattle. Monday night game, puke. I'm not even going to mention any names there. What I'm going to do in the last 3 minutes, I'm going to run down the quarterbacks. Deshaun, 9,600. Russell Wilson, 8,500. Alex Smith, 7,900. Drew Brees, 8,300. Tyrod Taylor, 7,500. Those are the 5 quarterbacks I'm looking at this week. Okay? The running backs I'm looking at this week. LaShawn McCoy, 8,500. Kareem Hunt, 9,000. Todd Gurley, 9,100. Mark Ingram, 7,900. Lamar Miller, 7,500. Leonard Fournette, 8,600. Christian McCaffrey, 6,100. I'm going to play around with plugging in the backs first. If I look at the 8,000 and 9,000 backs, I'm not going to be able to get both Hunt and Gurley in there at 9K. And then look at Deshaun Watson. I might drop to LaShawn McCoy at 8,500. I think he might be in a good spot. I do love Kareem Hunt. If I ran LaShawn McCoy and Kareem Hunt, I'm going to play with that. I might have to drop down and pick up some Ingram at 8,000 or 7,900. And I really might look at Lamar Miller at 7,500. And so look, who's the forgotten man? Leonard Fournette. So maybe I use him a lot, maybe I don't. He's on the list. I'm going to look at mixing and matching. I like LaShawn McCoy probably better at 8,500 than Leonard Fournette at 8,600, but you can't argue that they're both studs and they can both score a couple of touchdowns and run for 125 yards, catch a few passes, and do some damage there. My focus right now looks like it would be Kareem Hunt and then probably one of the cheaper Ingrams or Lamar Millers. Probably where I'm going. I would love to get Hunt and McCoy or Hunt and Fournette or something like that. So that's just me talking out loud. That's what I do. I compare these prices and I look at them, but that's my core. I'm not really looking at anybody else. I don't really have a need to, and I don't think you should either. Wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, 9,100. Michael Thomas, 7,600. Jarvis Landry, 7,000. Dez Bryant, 7,700. Mike Evans, 8,500. Devin Funchess, the only thing left in Carolina. I should have probably mentioned him with Christian McCaffrey. Devin Funchess, 6,100. Tyreek Hill, 7,700. Doug Baldwin, 7,900. Will Fuller, 7,800. How expensive is he? Ted Ginn, 5,700. So generally, if I'm going to go double high at running back and go up for the big guns, McCoy, Hunt, Gurley, Ingram, Fournette types, I'm going to have to find some value somewhere at either quarterback, tight end, or wide receiver. If I look at wide receiver, I wouldn't be afraid of Ted Ginn in New Orleans. I wouldn't be afraid of Devin Funchess. If that frees something up for me, it's going to force me to take cheaper elsewhere too. If I ran Ginn and Funchess, I would play with that. Maybe I'd be able to get up to a Dez. Maybe I'd be able to get up to a Tyreek Hill. I don't. God, Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins are both in great spots. I'd like to get them. I don't know that I'm going to. I guess I would take a Fuller over a DeAndre Hopkins at this point, but I'm not sure. Again, it requires some playing around, some mixing and some matching. Tight end, Zach Ertz, 7,600. Jack Doyle, 5,700. Jimmy Graham, 6,200. ASJ, Austin Safarian Jenkins or whatever, 6,000. And Delaney Walker, 5,600. I may have to pay all the way down. I don't know that I want to go below ASJ at 6,000. Jack Doyle, okay, feels like chasing points. Delaney Walker, not getting a lot of red zone targets. So, ASJ is as solid as they come. Don't know that I'm getting all the way up to Ertz. Would like to. And the difference in 200 between Jimmy Graham and ASJ is interesting. Jimmy Graham's maybe in the better spot, but that 200 may be important. As far as defenses are concerned, here's where we're going to save some money. Jacksonville, 5,300. Philadelphia, 5,200. Houston, 5,200. That sounds expensive, right? New Orleans Saints, 4,500. That $700 is going to be important. That $700 might get me off ASJ up to Jimmy Graham. It might get me off of, Alex Smith up to Russell Wilson. It might get me off of Mark Ingram up to LaShawn McCoy. It might get me out of the basement on the wide receivers and off of, say, Devin Funchess. Keep Ted Ginn, go off of Devin Funchess, and, jump up to, say, Will Fuller or Dez Bryant or Michael Thomas or something. I don't know what I'm going to do. Again, but that's the stuff that I'm looking at. As far as kickers are concerned, I don't like paying up for them, but I'm not afraid to. That Fairbairn dude in Houston is a beast at 5,000. He's in a smash spot. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's in a good spot. Blair Walsh in Seattle, another smash spot, 4,700. And Lambeau, Jacksonville. Josh Lambeau, 4,700. I'm probably not going any cheaper than that. I mean, the 46 and 4,500, I don't see any matchups down there that I'm really excited about. So I may take the $300 savings off of Fairbairn, and I may take the $200 savings off of Jimmy Graham and ASJ. There's 500 there. May take the 700 savings from New Orleans off of the defenses, and what's that? 700, 500, $1,200. $1,200 would get me from Russell Wilson to Deshaun Watson. Again, these are the things you massage. These are the things you look for. This is how you put lineups together. You build a core list that I just mentioned to you. Hope you took notes. You pay attention to the prices. Where can I pay down? Where can I pay up? Where would I like to pay up? How am I going to get there? If you need to, you go to DFSArmy.com, you plug into our optimizer, and you play with the player pool in there and let the algorithm do the work for you. Use our projections. Use your own. Doesn't matter. You need coaching. You need help talking more details about this type of stuff. Where do I pay up? Where do I pay down? Do you like this guy or this guy better for the dollar? That's where you need us in coaching, and you need the community to give you the feedback. That's what DFS Army does. So once again, use coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, 20% discount for the lifetime of your subscription. Go to the link in the description, dfsarmy.com, and we will see you on the inside. That's Week 9's Quick Picks, guys. We're out in under 25 minutes.